In a first-ever political shockwave that has shaken the corridors of power in South Africa, ANC Secretary-General Fico Mbalula has made a bombshell claim that President Cyril Ramaphosa is involved in a string of clandestine government operations reportedly bankrolled by taxpayers' money without parliamentary control. The sensational disclosures laid bare in an emergency late-night press conference at Lully House have sparked a firestorm of anger in Credle and frantic political wheeling and dealing. Wearing an unusually subdued black suit, Mbalula spoke to the press with unyielding seriousness. "Enough is enough," he declared, holding on to the podium for support. "I have remained silent for too long. Today I present to the people of South Africa concrete evidence, contracts, financial reports, and private messages demonstrating that secret infrastructure and intelligence projects were conducted by means of public money without parliamentary approval under the direction of President Ramaphosa and a closed grouping of advisors." He went on to show a fat binder of papers which he said held proof of numerous multi-billion rand scams kept under wraps. Foremost amongst them was a 3.1 billion secret energy program purportedly carried out in a foreign nation under the pretext of strategic resource cooperation. The program not only did not produce returns, Mbalula said, but may have never been carried out in the guise outlined on paper. A further astonishing part of the leak includes what Mbalula called an illicit digital spying operation found out to international intelligence contractors. This wasn't for the country's protection. It was used against political adversaries within and outside the ANC. It spied on civil society activists. It profiled internal critics, and it did it with money from the taxpayer. Mbalula announced he didn't finish there. The Secretary-General referred to a series of ghost tenders that went to shell companies allegedly owned by individuals linked to the former business empire of the president. The tenders issued supposedly for rural province infrastructure improvements seemed to have produced no output. "We followed the company ownerships, the bank accounts, and even the offshore transfers," he said, gesturing with a sheet of signed authorizations. Ramaphosa's name is signed on some of them between 2019 and 2023. It was a network, a shadow government. Moore said that efforts to resolve these issues through internal ANC channels were thwarted at each step. "This is not about revenge. This is about truth. I have made an effort to bring these issues internally. I've been stonewalled, pushed aside, threatened. Oliver Tamble's ANC would never have tolerated this," he asserted, taking a deep breath before continuing. "We are no longer a liberation movement. We are acting like a mafia." They were immediate and visceral. By morning, emergency session meetings were in progress at Loadshedding House and the Union buildings. The president, according to sources, was caught off guard and visibly shaken by the public betrayal. A top ANC source speaking on background told City Press, "This is political assassination. Ma has overstepped. But if what he says turns out to be true, it doesn't just target the president, it demolishes the party's moral foundation." Other insiders, however, praised Bola's position, terming it as brave. "He did what everyone else feared to do. If we want to restore the credibility of the ANC, this had to be exposed," said a Gauteng-based NEC member. Within minutes of Mbalula's speech, the country erupted on social media. Hashtags such as #Ramaphosa, #Bopophiles, and #in imploding top trending lists. Leading civil society groups, political pundits, and even trade unions called for immediate independent probes. The Democratic Alliance was not slow. DA leader John Steenhuisen called for an emergency parliament sitting the following morning, calling for a session. Should half of what has been exposed by Mbalula prove to be true, this amounts to the people's biggest betrayal since state capture under Zuma. "The president should step down and the law enforcement agencies must act," said Steenhuisen, calling on the Hawks, the SIU, and the Auditor General to act. EFF's Julius Malema, in a venomous voice note uploaded on X, formerly Twitter, stated, "We told you Sir Ramaphosa is not keen. It's taken one of his own to verify it." South Africa needs better than a president who spies on his own comrades. Even the ANC Youth League weighed in, issuing a measured statement urging an internal commission of inquiry, yet cautioning against hasty judgment. We cannot brush these allegations under the carpet. At the same time, let us stay measured until all facts are confirmed. In the meantime, the presidency gave a concise midnight reply. The claims raised by Secretary-General Mbalula are under attorney review. The Office of the President refutes any malfeasance. We warn the public not to disseminate misleading information that would destabilize the country. President Ramaphosa reiterates his dedication to transparency and democratic accountability, the statement said, but the harm might already be done. Officials from Treasury, the State Security Agency, and Department of Public Enterprises have allegedly been told to keep all documents from 2018 until 2024, indicating that internal probes are already underway. The Office of the Auditor General confirmed that its forensic section had been briefed and would start preliminary auditing in days. As political turmoil intensifies, Parliament will likely discuss a motion to create an independent judicial commission, possibly headed by a retired judge with unfettered subpoena authority. The motion, already supported by opposition parties, will likely put extra pressure on an already fractured government of national unity. This is a potential watershed moment, stated political commentator Judith February. If these allegations are proven true, we can expect the removal of an incumbent president, a reshuffling of the ANC leadership, and possibly the ultimate collapse of the ruling party in the form we know it. For President Ramaphosa, the so-called cool technocrat who has long been touted as the man to restore order from the Zuma-era chaos, the stakes have never been higher. His presidency, his legacy is now on the line. And from Mbalula, the self-proclaimed whistleblower, the stakes are just as high. Already, whispers are circulating about internal disciplinary procedures, potential criminal charges for the illegal disclosure of sensitive information, and even threats to his physical safety. But one thing is certain, South Africa is now in uncharted waters. In a nation that is still recovering from decades of corruption and state capture, the idea that the new day could have been only another hue of the same darkness has caused the nation to shake to its very foundations. Whether this is the start of real accountability or only another page in the sad destruction of public faith, only time will tell.